So the federal forces finally start to implement the draft that they'd ordered like months ago that I kind of forgot that we did. And surprise, surprise, people aren't happy about it. Hello and welcome to Civil War in Hindsight. I'm Lieutenant Tommy. With me, as always, is Prospector Johnny. And Johnny, winter hit all of a sudden overnight.
Got chilly.
Got cold.
Yeah.
Got a little chilly.
Real quick.
Got my little stove at my feet going to keep me a little bit toasty.
Yeah,
and
nice.
Hope the troops out there in the fronts stay nice and warm. It is privileged to be an officer that is stationed not anywhere near the front.
Yeah, that must be nice. And I thought I was going to be pretty well off being just a civilian in all this, but it turns out that might not be the case for all that much longer because I heard some little rumor about the draft actually being implemented. They're starting to.
Oh, Johnny, you're too old.
Thing.
Don't worry about that. You're too old for that.
Oh,
We're
good.
too old for
We're
that.
not,
You're too old for that.
Like
You don't have to
South
worry about that. You're
draft
too old for that.
where they're doing like the 38-year-olds or whatever.
No, we haven't gotten so desperate that we're like anybody who can breathe get joy. No, we're not that desperate yet, Johnny. You're still too old for our draft. But Johnny, this week's going to open up on October 10th with some skirmishing near Harrodsburg and Danville as Bragg's forces are continuing to withdraw out of Kentucky. And out in Virginia, Jeb Stuart's raid that started at the very end of last week, he's going to raid near Chambersburg, and we got some Indiana news, Johnny. Indiana news.
What happened in Indiana or around Indiana or with troops from Indiana?
Yeah, there is a home guard troops in Indiana that are going to push out some Copperhead guerrillas near Hawesville, Indiana. And I have lived in Indiana most of my life, and I have no idea where the hell Hawesburg is. But
Hawesburg?
Yeah, Hawesburg. Or Hawesville. Sorry, Hawesville, Indiana. Hawesville. Never even heard of Hawesville. I'm assuming it's down on the Ohio River somewhere, but no idea.
I've heard of a place called Hayesville, Indiana, but that's about it.
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Well, I doubt.
Anyways.
Anywho,
down in Hawesville, Indiana, we got some Copperhead guerrillas. So these are your Indiana boys who are like, we think that slavery's okay, but we're not going to move down to the south where we can actually do it.
So we're
going to raid, and they got attacked by actual Indiana Home Guard and pushed out of the area.
All right, so basically a bunch of homegrown terrorists decided they were going to try to bring the Confederacy into Indiana, and our good old boys said no.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Exactly. You're hitting the
Great.
nail on the head.
Great.
There. But I feel like I need Indiana news. We gotta do that to our home state whenever we can. On the 11th, Stuart is going to cut telegraph lines, steal and destroy military equipment, and wreck several trains at Chambersburg. And when I say wreck several trains, I am imagining, now I'm fully speculating here, I'm imagining he didn't have the intention on wrecking the trains. It's like, your teenage son got a hold of the carriage and just went a little bit too fast around that corner and popped the curb. I'm imagining that's probably more what they did.
But it's, it was beneficial for the Army, or was this not? These were trains that were not. What trains
so basically, all Stuart's doing is just trying to.
He's just chaos.
Yeah, they were ours.
Right?
They were ours, and Stuart stole our train. Yes. He's trying to create chaos so that McClellan won't go and pursue Lee, which I don't think he got the memo that he didn't actually need to do any of this for McClellan to not, in fact, pursue Lee. This is the second time that Stuart has ridden around McClellan's army.
Yeah, and McClellan, did he do anything about Stuart?
The first time? No.
No, this time.
This time? No, not really. No, not so much.
So we just
there's some skirmishing near Helena, Arkansas. Lost a couple of trains, lost a couple of telegraph lines. Some military equipment was stolen and damaged. There's some small skirmishing near Helena, Arkansas, and Confederate Congress, Johnny. They're going to expand the draft exemptions. We had the draft. They expanded the scope of the draft to take old people.
Right.
Now they're expanding the exemptions so that the people who don't have to go off.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of these exemptions are specific work details. Like if you're in certain factories, you don't have to go, or if you're in certain mines, things that have military applications.
If you're basically already working for the war with whatever your job may be, then you don't have to go and join up.
Yes, which makes perfect sense.
That's logical.
Now, the part that doesn't make perfect sense is that if you are a slave owner or slave overseer of a plantation that has 20 or more slaves, you do not have to fight. So once again, proving that this war for rich people will continue to be fought by poor people who have no interest.
I mean, Tommy, to be
in this whatsoever.
If you just started plucking out all the people who were overseeing or owned 20 or more slaves, imagine what would happen to those slaves when their overseers got taken away. I mean, you can't just free them?
Free them, or have them risk rebellion, risk them taking up arms against you. Yeah, you're right. It's logic.
It makes sense.
I'm sure money has nothing to play in it, but yes. On the 12th, Johnny, after a brief skirmish near Montacay in Maryland, Stuart is going to cross the Potomac and complete his second ride around McClellan's army, proving yet again McClellan can't even protect his own supply lines. And for all of this, Johnny, can you just take a wild guess as to how many men that Stuart got wounded or killed in action for his second ride around McClellan's army? Take a guess.
176 killed, 28 wounded, and 453 missing.
One dude wounded, Johnny. One dude got wounded,
sprained his
and
ankle.
I imagine that he just fell off his horse or sprained an ankle getting off his horse.
Stepped on a rock funny. And, I've been there. I mean, God, who hasn't?
It happens, yeah. And Johnny, Lincoln is concerned that Buell isn't pursuing Bragg fast enough out in Kentucky and asks what the hell's going on, to which Buell responds, well, have you tried to march in these boots that you gave us? It's like you can't really tell which boot's the left boot, which boot's the right boot, and we get them confused. And when you walk long distance it hurts our feetsies. So it takes time for us to walk and pursue this army, and they have guns still. We don't want to risk getting shot at, so we're gonna meander in their general direction.
Just.
Another ineptitude of we have a victory and then we don't do anything with it. We have a victory and then we don't do anything with it. It's like, can we?
It's been this war. It's been this entire war. This war should have been over so long ago, Tommy. We should have been. I shouldn't be in my new studio here or new cabin here. Shouldn't be my new cabin here. It should have been over.
Here we are, a new cabin. I have a feeling that I'll probably be relocated somewhere before this whole thing is over myself.
You'll be lucky if you're not relocated to the front lines by the end of this.
Oh no, I've got rickets.
Oh,
and,
flat feet and shit. Yeah.
Flat feet.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can make up some other stuff. Daddy's got money.
I'm not sure you'd have to make up anything, Tommy. They'd run you through the physical, and you'd be disbanded right away.
Fair enough. I think legitimately being run through the physical would be this dude can't even walk straight.
They'd be touch your toes. Let's look at that back. And nope, your back's
we can't. I haven't touched my toes since I was a wee tot. There's no touching toes. Side note, I did have a doctor's your flexibility should be improved. You should be able to touch your toes. I haven't. They're you should stretch like you did in high school. I don't think you knew what I did in high school. I definitely wasn't.
I can currently. This is it. I can. In between the knee and the shin, and right in the middle of the shin. That's where I can reach down. That's it. That's the best we can.
This is where it. This is where it always has been, Johnny. Always has been. On October the 13th, Confederate Congress is going to extend the suspension of the writ of habeas corpus until February 12th, 1863. So officially, there is nowhere in this country where you can openly question the war or be guaranteed a right to a fair trial. It is now, you can be arrested for whatever reason you want, and all that is just hucked into the garbage can. To hell with the Constitution that we wrote. Apparently, it's meaningless.
Not that long ago. Really? No,
Not that long ago. No.
Hasn't been that long.
Nope.
We're already just
Not even 100 years, Johnny, and we're just throwing it in the dumpster.
Gone. So that's
gone.
Fun. I actually have no strong opinions on that whatsoever. I think it's probably for the best.
Lincoln is once again going to ask McClellan to move against Lee, who will once again say nah. Again, these boots. You should
Did he
really
say please? Did he ask?
We
did
should
he
really
ask him nicely.
put
Has
some
Lincoln
sheep's wool or something in the bottom of these boots to make them a little bit more comfortable.
Maybe send him a fruit basket.
Something. Bragg is going to be moving his forces towards Cumberland Gap, and his invasion of Kentucky is officially failure and over, as Kentucky is still in northern hands. Tennessee is still going to be in northern hands. So your great speech you made a few weeks ago where you're like, Tennessee, you're liberated, and Kentucky, you're next. Well, you might as well take backsies on that one.
Well, I mean, not necessarily wrong if they're now liberated from him trying to take them over, I guess.
There's that.
Free from that.
On the 14th of October, elections in Iowa, Ohio, Indiana, and Pennsylvania are going to result in Democrats gaining more seats in all of those states except Iowa. So Copperheads are politically making more ground than they probably should. But then again, I kind of don't blame them
a little bit,
because for the Republican Party, your first couple of years here in office haven't exactly gone great.
It's been it's been hard, right? I mean, it's been hard, right?
Well, to be fair, the Democrat Buchanan totally screwed things up before Lincoln even got there. But yeah, he's not. I mean, we can't question our dear Fuhrer without being risked of being arrested, which we're not questioning. We're not questioning. I'm just saying we could. Why would we? He's doing a fantastic job. Fantastic.
I feel like this government is doing
war's going splendidly.
Everything that you would expect from a government that's trying to do what this government is doing.
On the 15th, Johnny, there is skirmishing like pretty much everywhere in this country. In Indian territory, we can't forget about them. That shit's still going on. Hasn't been resolved.
What? We're still... It's
still going on. It's like a footnote here, but yeah, it's still. Every week I have to be like, still going on.
They're still there.
There's an Indian attack at Fort Gibson. Neely's Bend in Tennessee's got some skirmishing going on. Crab Orchard and Barren Mound in Kentucky has got some skirmishing, where Buell is basically trying to mop up what's remaining of the Confederate raiders that are in Kentucky. And there's going to be some fighting near Carrollsville, Virginia. So pretty much every front has a little bit of fighting, although not enough to even merit a casualty report, because remember,
because we don't care about these
if it's under 100 people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Your death is not even a statistic.
And Admiral Farragut, Johnny, remember Admiral Farragut from like what feels like forever and a day ago? I know you don't remember him. Admiral Farragut is the guy who like broke the back of the Confederate Navy. Like he did all this stuff, and the reason why the Confederate doesn't have a Navy anymore. This is Farragut. He's our guy. Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah, I mean, he did get the Mississippi secured for us, minus Vicksburg, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. So Farragut, Johnny, he's going to announce that Galveston, Corpus Christi, and Sabine City, Texas, are all now in the possession of the U.S. Navy. Once again, kind of securing up that whole Anaconda plan. There's even less areas for those dirty rebel raiders to get through. Great. Yay.
Yeah.
Now, how much longer is it going to take for this Anaconda to eat the deer, so to speak? Because it's taking forever.
With a deer, it's going to have to, like, the antlers and stuff's going to be a problem. Really, they'd be better off with.
Johnny, it's been like
a
a year and a half.
Something smaller.
A year and a half A year and a half. This shit should be over. We're almost 2 years from the whole, like...
Tom, you're not getting
it. Because we didn't like the election.
You're not getting any arguments from me about it should have been over. Like, I had plans
should have been
to do other stuff here, but this is my life now. This
I
think
is
my life forever.
This is it.
This is what we're going to be doing.
Forever. I think you might be right there, Johnny. And Governor Vance in North Carolina is going to call upon the citizens of the state to provide blankets, carpets, and clothing for the Confederates because, once again, we're so low on supplies that the government can't do it. So please, the people, dig in your closets, find your old coats, give them to the soldiers because they're cold, because winter has hit, and button up.
Now, has the North considered this tactic of providing the South with blankets and things because it worked really well when we did it with the natives? So I think
these people in the South might be a little bit immune to some of the diseases.
We could lace it with some new disease. I mean, go to New York City in one of the alleys and just rub it on the corner there, and there's new diseases that they can get. Just a thought.
It might work, Johnny. That's just a thought. That might work. That might work. On the 16th, Johnny McClellan is finally going to send 2 expeditions into Virginia. One from Sharpsburg towards Smithville, Virginia. So Sharpsburg, Maryland, towards Smithville, Virginia. And one from Harper's Ferry towards Charlestown. He is finally moving in the general direction of where Lee kind of was going 3 months ago. I mean, at this... What's the point? Why are you even bothering trying to move? You're not going to catch up.
Well, you know what? He had orders, and he agreed to follow those orders at some point.
4 days later, he's like, fine, I'll move.
Sometime he will get around to it.
And Bragg is going to continue to meander to the Cumberland Gap because he is relatively unopposed, as Buell has still pulled a page out of McClellan's book and not done much of anything.
Yeah.
Just, marching's hard. And now we're at the point where marching is going to be hard. Actually, legitimately hard.
It's going to get real hard.
Because we've had our first snowfall, and it's only going to get worse as things continue. So.
The ground's starting to freeze, too. We had a couple of freezes here, so that's not going to be fun overnight. Waking up in the morning, it's going to get, literally hard to walk.
Yep. And Johnny, on the 16th, the U.S. draft is going to finally begin. We ordered that months ago, but then suspended it because enough volunteers came about. But now they're like, nope, we got to do it. And it's going to start in Pennsylvania, where several counties that weren't meeting their volunteer numbers are like, well, implement that draft. And it takes all of about 10 minutes for the people to go, well, this really sucks. I don't want to do it. And start to protest said draft. Hell no, we won't go.
Yeah, don't like
that. And the week is gonna end with the federal forces diverting troops to those counties in Pennsylvania where they're saying, hell yes, you are going to go. Or at the very least, go back to your house and be quiet about this while we determine who is or isn't going. So, yeah, quite literally, in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, the federal forces, military troops, are brought in to stop any potential riot. And hey, look, military force, join up. Hey, and maybe you'll be lucky. Maybe you'll be lucky, and you get to join up, and you could be one of us.
Your fellow man.
Yes,
and not allowing them their right to protest is guaranteed in our Constitution.
Habeas corpus, Johnny. That's out the window. Remember. Because technically speaking, anybody who's like in Luzerne County, if you want, I don't want to go, jail worthy, right there. You just saying I don't want to go is worthy enough to be arrested and thrown in jail indefinitely without trial.
Freest country in the world, Tommy.
It's something, and we'll see how all this plays out next week in America, home of the free and the brave, or something like that. That's it for this week in Civil War in Hindsight. If you enjoy Civil War in Hindsight, check out Historic Hindsight. We talk about all kinds of fun things that aren't necessarily Civil War related, although there is a forthcoming Battle of Perryville special. But we've also talked about all kinds of random things like Prohibition and how the British in World War II thought it was a good idea to kill all the pets because, they take up supplies, I guess. So we're going to have a pet holocaust. So check all that stuff out.